Hi guys, welcome to this week's edition of Awaken Your Soul. My name is Lauren Cabalda and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And this is Shannon Hibble. She's also a licensed MFT. And we're both clinical directors at Akua Mind and Body.
Today we're going to be talking about dating. People say that you should wait at least a year before you start dating if you are struggling with an addiction to a substance. We have a lot of clients that are saying to themselves or to us that their sponsor is telling them that they can't date and that they're not allowed to date. And so we wanted to talk about this because we don't come in and tell as therapists what a client should and shouldn't do. Really, as a therapist, what we're here for is to really empower the client to make decisions for themselves and to trust their decision making. Because if we just tell them what to do, then they're not going to be able to develop what's called ego strength, or the ability to actually make decisions on their own. They have these needs and wants to be in an intimate relationship, which is very normal. That's a very normal want and need. And so then to deny that when you're now newly sober is really difficult, because not only did you get rid of the substance that was like a relationship for you, now you're having to reject that want and that need or dismiss it for a time. And that's really hard. That's what tends to happen in early relationships, in early recovery, because they're still trying to become whole themselves. And so there's a lot of looking to someone else to make them okay. When you go from one substance, then you go to a person because you want to feel okay. I have something. They're there. I'm okay if they're okay. That's the psychological reasoning kind of behind AA's decision to say you need to wait for a year. Now, I'm not going to say that black and white as a therapist, but there is some psychological reasoning behind that.
A lot of people ask, in treatment or in therapy, when will I be able to fall in love? When will it be right for me to date? So usually there's, two kinds of people coming into treatment, those that are already in relationships and those that have remained single. And so there's usually those, in terms of dating or being in a love relationship, one of the first questions for those that are single, when might I be able to date or have sex or have a relationship or even start flirting with others? Question number one. And then for those that are already in relationships, is it safe or healthy for me to stay in this relationship? Particularly if I've been drinking or using with this person in my world. And someone asks, when might I be ready to start dating? And it's really when you're truly not focused on that. When you're able to be completely free and comfortable with yourself. I kind of joke and call it when you're able to just date yourself. Take yourself out to dinner. Don't look at your phone. And just learn to spend time with yourself. Do you really love those moments that you're alone? And I think that's the key part, is falling in love with yourself. And that starts with self-forgiveness. And Shannon was talking about this and alluding to needing someone else to be okay for us to be okay. And so that points to that validation. And research shows that we actually get this dopamine spike when someone else gives us a compliment or tells us that we're handsome or beautiful or lovable, or they want to spend time with us. And so it's really easy when we take away kind of those creature comforts of your drug of choice, or even there's a comfort in being depressed. There's a comfort in being anxious because the brain is used to that mode of operation. And so, having a person around though, that to love us and to validate us, really kind of, it's almost like that quick drug. And so that can be like a cross addiction. So I usually tell clients, a relationship should really only be entered when we're not focused on the relationship. And if you're currently in a relationship, my word of advice is always, again, turn the lens on yourselves, not on each other. And so the focus should not be the ifs and the wins. Like, when he stops drinking, then I'm going to be okay in this relationship. Or if she stops nagging, then we're going to be better together. So if a couple is coming into this treatment and recovery process, and I say it's a couple because even though one person might be the identified patient that drinks, the other person is also part of this process, that family disease aspect. So the question is, can we do our own work separately? And a lot of times that brings up a lot of fear. because this person might actually start to fall in love with themselves so much that I'm not relevant anymore. My partner might really, develop this, new hobby or go to AA or have this support system and become truly who they should be. And that can be a threat to me. And so there's a lot of fear that comes in with relationships coming into treatment.
And on that is that same fear is there's this fear that if I individuate, which we've talked about in the past, and I become my own person with my own thoughts and my own beliefs, that then that person's going to leave me. That's actually psychologically unattractive to both of you at an unconscious or conscious level. And when you actually individuate, you're actually going to find each other more attractive. And so...
Or you should. And if you don't, then that's an indicator that it's a toxic relationship that's not honoring your individuation process. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that part of you that's clinging to them is coming from more of a place of, it's more of like an infant, childlike place that's more needy. And I don't want to shame that part, because that tells me that that part didn't get the needs met that it needed to when you were younger. But when you're coming out of that place of needing and wanting, like this, clasping like an infant, it's unattractive for that person that's on the other side. And so that's what's hard is, like I said earlier, there's a need and there's a want for intimacy and connection and a partner. But there's also this other part that is not healthy, is more of a coming from a place of desperation and dependency, and not interdependency, like dependency, like I need you or I'm going to die feeling. And so we try to tease those out so that clients can actually make choices for their partners from more of this place, more of an adult place, more of a place where they are not coming out of that desperation and that dependency place.
Thank you guys for joining us on this week's edition of Awaken Your Soul. Please subscribe to us if you enjoyed the content, and we'll see you next week.